Hello, Jordan family. This is Assistant Principal Boyce. I'm going to be sharing with you the information regarding our Fall 2020-2021 testing plan. This includes in-person, end-of-course, and CTE state assessments, and our virtual Teachermade assessments. The testing window for regular testing will run from January 11th through January 22nd. Makeups will be from January 25th through February 15th. During this presentation, I will be sharing about who is testing, what if students are not comfortable testing in person, understanding the testing schedule, both state tests and Teachermade, the test schedule, planning tool for students to use to map out their individual exam schedule, safety protocols for in-person testing, final exam grading, exam exemptions, the JHS Fall Testing intent form, which we'll need all families to complete, and test prep reminders. Who is testing? Fall testing is focused on semester courses that will end at the end of semester 1. Students taking English 2, Biology, Math 1, or Math 3 have a required end of course, or EOC, state test. Some career and technical education, or CTE courses, have required state tests as well. All other semester courses will have Teachermade exams. Year-long, or AB courses, will continue with class as usual following the exam schedule. Specifically, English 2 will test on January 11th, the first day of testing, Biology on January 12th, day 2 of testing, Math 1 on January 13th, day 3 of testing, and Math 3 on January 14th, day 4 of testing. CTE courses with state assessments will test based on the period the student has the class. This means that on day 5, January 15th, students that are taking AP Computer Science, Hospitality and Tourism, Principles of Business, Sports Marketing 1 or Sports Marketing 2 during first period will test. On day 6, January 20th, students who are taking Animal Science 2, Foods 1, Principles of Business, Sports Marketing 2 during second period will test. Day 7, January 21st, students taking Accounting 1, Financial Planning 1, Foods 1, Interior Design 1, or Principles of Business during third period will test. And finally, on day 8, January 22nd, students taking Foods 1, Interior Design 1, or Principles of Business during fourth period will take their test. What if I am not comfortable testing in person in January? Durham Public Schools is taking every precaution to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19 to students and staff when tests are administered. This includes wearing face masks, requiring social distancing, requiring frequent hand washing, staggering test schedules to reduce the number of students in a classroom at the same time, installing upgraded air filters, cleaning and disinfecting frequently, and more. However, students have the option of delaying taking the state assessments. If a family is concerned about possible exposure to COVID-19 or if a student is ill, we will provide ample time during the school year to make up these tests. To request a delay in EOC or CTE test administration, please complete the JHS testing intent form and notify your teacher. The JHS testing intent form can be found on the testing information page of the Jordan website. The window for making up first semester exams is through February 15th. Students who do not make up first semester exams by January 28th will receive an incomplete score until they make it up. Students with an incomplete will be given the opportunity in the spring to complete the exam, and again in June. Now we will go through the daily testing schedule. We'll start first by looking at the in-person state tests, the EOCs and the CTEs that were listed earlier. In-person testing will primarily take place in the morning each day of testing. All testing will start at 9 a.m. each day at Jordan High School. Some tests end a little earlier than others, so you will see different end times for some of the tests. As mentioned before, the first 4 days of testing is reserved for our EOCs. January 11th for English 2, January 12th for Biology, January 13th for Math 1, and January 14th for Math 3. Day 5 through 8 are reserved for CTE testing by period that the student has the class. So January 15th is reserved for CTE state testing for period 1, January 20th for CTE testing for period 2, January 21st for CTE testing for period 3, and January 22nd for CTE testing for period 4. In the Test Block 1, Lunch, and Test Block 2 columns, you will note the amount of time provided for each test. Most students will finish the test during Test Block 1. Students who need maximum time will be allowed to continue their test after the lunch block during the Test Block 2 time. Buses will run according to the end time of Test Block 2 each day. For example, on day 1, buses will run at 2:30. On day 2, following the biology exam, buses will run at 1:30. On day 3, buses will run at 2:30, and on day 4, buses will run at 2:30. You'll also note that all CTE testing runs on the same schedule each day. So once we get to day 5, the morning block will always be 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and the afternoon test block for CTE testing will be 12:15 to 2:15 p.m. and the buses will run at 2:30 each day. So what about students not taking a state assessment? Students who do not have a scheduled EOC or state CTE assessment on any given day. Students that do not have an EOC or CTE assessment have an opportunity to work independently. They have asynchronous time from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for completing final assignments, working on final exam projects, studying, or completing other work. Teachers who are not administering or proctoring exams in person on campus can hold review sessions, help sessions, etc. that students can attend, but only at the student's discretion. We do want to protect the time in the morning for students to study if they don't have an in-person test. Again, students opting not to take state assessments due to COVID-19 concerns will receive an incomplete and have an opportunity to take their EOC or CTE state tests during the spring or summer. Now let's talk about Teachermade exams. Primarily, Teachermade exams will be completed in the afternoon each day of the testing schedule. Teachermade exams can be any of the following. They can be a synchronous test online with the teacher per the testing schedule. The test could be released to students with a window of time to complete or submit the test. It could be a project with a due date that is ongoing, perhaps even assigned prior to the start of the testing schedule, or another determined assessment by the teacher. Students will have no more than 2 synchronous assessments in one day, as I'll show you in our schedule. The testing schedule is color-coded for Teachermade exams to help students understand when they might have a synchronous exam. Green indicates that those are exam days for those periods. Red indicates that those are periods that teachers should not give exams. Those will just be regular class meeting periods so that we can ensure that any student that might take an EOC or a CTE test in the morning would only have potentially one other exam in the afternoon. We don't want students to have more than 2 exams in one day. You will note when looking at the day-to-day schedule for Teachermade exams that all classes are able to meet. So even if your student has a class that is an AB year-long class, they will still be able to meet with their teachers during the exam period. For example, on day 1, after the English 2 EOC in the morning, beginning at 1:30, period 1 exams will take place, or period 1A classes. At 3 o'clock p.m., period 2 classes and 2A classes will meet. Similarly, on day 2, after the biology exam, beginning at 1:30, period 3 exams will take place and 3A classes will meet. At 3 o'clock, period 4 classes and period 4A classes will meet. Day 3 and 4 follow a similar schedule, with the only difference being that period 1 exams are paired with 1B classes, period 2 is paired with 2B, period 3 exams paired with 3B classes, and period 4 paired with 4B classes. So, during the first 4 days of testing, all semester classes will meet twice, and all AB classes will get to meet once. This repeats for the second 4 days. The only difference for day 5 through 8 is that exams are possible for period 2 and period 4 semester classes in the afternoon from 3 to 4. Again, by breaking up day 1 through 4 as period 1 and 3 exam opportunities, day 5 through 8 is for period 2 and period 4 exam opportunities. Please note in this schedule that each semester class has 2 potential periods for exams. The way teachers may utilize this can vary from class to class. Some classes may use both periods to complete the exam the teacher has made. Some classes may use one period as a review session and the second period as the actual exam. Others may do the exam in the first period and use the second class for another purpose. All of these are acceptable and at the teacher's discretion. Students will find specific information for how their individual class exams will take place from the teacher. Now, it is important to note that if students use the maximum time in test block 2, their test time for EOC or CTE state assessments may run over into afternoon teacher-made exams or class periods. This is okay. Teachers have been informed and will be provided a list of students who are taking the test in the morning to provide an opportunity for the student to make up the teacher-made exam. This can be scheduled independently with the teacher, or the student may be able to use the second exam day of the 2 opportunities in the afternoon to take their exam. Either way, students will not be penalized if they need maximum time to take their state assessment. Also, students who are using DPS transportation for getting to school to take their EOC or CTE state assessment will need to remain on campus until the buses run in the afternoon. With the buses running at 2:30 each day, with the exception of biology on day 2, which will run at 1:30, students will be able to participate in their afternoon synchronous period from 1:30 to 2:30 while on campus. If for any reason transportation from school back to home creates a situation where a student is not able to attend their synchronous class in the afternoon, they can simply touch base with their teacher the same as they would during our regular virtual schedule to get credit for being in attendance on those days. Students will not be penalized for not being able to attend those afternoon classes if it is due to an EOC or CTE assessment on campus in the morning. Now let's talk about final exam grading. Per the recent DPS Board of Education decision, EOC and CTE state assessments will be graded on a scale of 90 to 100, meaning that students will not receive lower than a 90 on their final EOC or CTE assessment. However, the actual performance will be included on the testing section of the student's transcript. Teacher-made exams will be graded on a scale of 60 to 100, meaning that students will not earn lower than a 60 on their final exam. Final exams will still count as 20% of students' grade for the semester. Please note that the requirement for exam exemptions has not changed. Students are not exempt from state-required exams, like the EOC or the CTE state exams. Please feel free to pause the video to read the DPS policy for teacher-made exam exemptions. Now I'm going to go over the student and family protocols for how students arrive at school, how they interact while they're on campus, and how they'll depart from school through the in-person testing process as we navigate safely with COVID-19. First, students are reminded that they will need to bring their school-provided Chromebook for testing. Students will not be able to use their personal devices for state testing. So if a student has not yet checked out a Chromebook, one will be provided on test day on campus. All students and staff will be required to wear a mask for the duration of their time on campus, indoors and outdoors. Students who do not wear a mask will not be permitted to remain on campus and complete their test. When students arrive on campus, bus riders will be dropped off at the front of the school, car riders will be dropped off at the traffic circle, and walkers will arrive at the front of the school. If students need DPS transportation and have questions about that, please direct those questions to either Assistant Principal Ganem or Dr. Cardoza. Due to the period of time that we have been out of school and in virtual learning due to COVID-19, we understand that we may have students who haven't been to Jordan's campus and navigated the campus for school purposes. Additionally, we want to have students entering at different points of campus to alleviate the possibility of congregating. So therefore, we're asking that car riders, along with student drivers, enter through the carpool lane. Student drivers will park in the student parking lot, and car riders will be dropped off at the traffic circle. All of these students will be screened before they enter the building by the cafeteria. Bus riders will be dropped off at the front of campus by the main lobby and will be screened as they exit the bus. Walkers are asked to report to a table that will be just outside of the auditorium for screening. All students will be screened before they enter the building. While on campus, students should only be in their testing location or en route to or from their testing location or the restroom. Students should not be in any other areas on campus. Students are reminded that they should follow the DPS Code of Conduct at all times while on campus. As mentioned before when discussing the diagram, bus riders will be screened as they exit the bus and enter the front canopy near the main lobby doors. Car riders and student drivers will be screened as they exit their vehicle before entering by the cafeteria. Walkers will be screened under the front canopy by the auditorium at a designated table. Students will be able to line up at 6 feet intervals down the sidewalk towards the 500 building. Once students have been screened, bus riders will be released to enter the building in the main lobby. Car riders and student drivers will enter the stairwell by the cafeteria, and walkers will enter the campus by the auditorium. When students enter the building, there will be staff members in place at each entry with a list of students' names and their location for the day, and will direct students to that location, reminding them to remain 6 feet apart. Breakfast will be served in the testing locations prior to 9 o'clock by DPS Child Nutrition Services. As students arrive to their testing location, the test administrator will collect some information from each student to glean an idea of how many students will be picked up once they have completed testing and how many students will remain on campus for bus transportation home. Students will be asked to turn off their cell phones and place them in plastic bags. The phones will be placed on the periphery of the classroom on tables for students to be able to discreetly grab as they leave once they have completed testing. Between 9 a.m. and 9:30, students will take their test tutorial, which is a required part of taking an EOC or CTE exam. Students will wipe down their device with a disinfectant wipe before and after teachers sign them onto the test. Teachers will have put on gloves and used hand sanitizer on the gloves prior to touching the student's device as well. Students will also be provided an opportunity to use the restroom before the test begins. We will rotate classrooms in each of our restroom zones to the restroom to avoid congregating, and we will maintain 6 feet distance between students at all times. With the required tutorial complete, all testing sessions must begin taking the actual exam by 9:30 each day to stay on schedule. Previously, students had to stay until their entire classroom had completed the test. For safety reasons, students will now be allowed to leave once they have completed their individual test and turned in their test materials. Lunch for students will be served in the classroom, same as with breakfast. Students can bring their own lunch and can keep a water bottle with them during testing. Again, students can be dismissed once they have completed the test. Anyone else who is staying on campus until the conclusion of testing will be dismissed in a staggered order by intercom announcements including reminders about social distancing while exiting. Staff members will be in place in the hallway to ensure safety, and everyone should exit the building the same way that they entered to, again, alleviate any potential congregating of students. The Student Achievement Committee at Jordan High School has developed a tool to help students organize their personal schedule during the exam window. The tool is called the JHS Personalized Exam Schedule Template. Students will have access to this on Friday, December 18th through their advisory class. They can take this tool and plug in their individual exam schedule so that they'll have a record of where they need to be either online or in person each day of testing. We will review this tool with students again the first week back from winter break before testing begins on January 11th. Here is a list of what to bring and what not to bring for testing. Please remember to bring your Chromebook and have it fully charged. It is optional, but you may bring a water bottle, your own lunch or breakfast, and a book to read following the test if you are not planning to leave once you've completed the test. Students should not bring book bags, textbooks, notes, papers, blankets or pillows, or personal computers or tablets. Please complete the JHS Fall Testing Intent Form by January 5th to let us know your plans and needs for fall testing. It's important that we hear from you in this so that we can plan for how many test rooms we need, how many test administrators we need. A few final exam reminders: don't forget to study. Don't procrastinate in preparing for your tests. Make sure that you get good rest the night before, and be sure that you eat breakfast either at home or at school before you take your test. This same guidance applies for teacher-made tests. Getting good rest and having food on your stomach makes a big difference in your performance on tests. Finally, utilize the JHS Final Grade Calculator that was shared in a source session earlier this year to help you calculate what you need to achieve on your final exam for your desired grade. This can be found in the JHS Virtual Advisory Classroom. Finally, you can find this slide deck with the hyperlinks included on the Jordan website on the testing information page. If you have any questions regarding testing, please contact me, Assistant Principal James Boyce, at james_Boyce-Jr. @dpsnc.net. Thank you. Good luck on preparing for your exams, and go Falcons.